This is the Footbrawl Podcast with your hosts, Tyler, Andy, and Boyer.
Welcome back to Mantasy Footbrawl Podcast, presented by me and Andy, two of us again. Here we are. It's gonna be common. So.
At least I'm here this week, so there's that.
That is true. We are not at what are you drinking yet, so this is a good start.
And I know how to put the intro on when we upload the video, so
yeah. So see, that's at least 30 seconds of our time. So I apologize to all of you that have to listen to this because we're already way over our timeline. All right, so let's jump into last week. I lucked Monday night. Herbert went for all of 7 points. He had not gone under 18 outside of 1 week, I believe. So I had full expectations of Jeremy beating me, but he did not. So I took down Jeremy this week. That was great. Chris takes down Walker. Robbie beats Paul. Boyer knocks off Charlie with a big discrepancy, 111 to 83. Not the blowout of the week, but close. Andy loses to Colin. That hurt him a little bit on the inside.
Hurt me a lot because Colin's naked competition at this point.
That's right. Or punishment number 2 because he's already been naked competition.
Yeah, we can talk about that in a little bit here.
And then Fryer takes down the duo. The duo was low score of the week. Robbie was the high score of the week. I believe that transaction was in process over the last day, trying to figure out Venmos and all the other fun stuff. Or over, not Venmo because you're not allowed to do that. No gambling. You're just paying people.
You have to say it was for hookers and blow. You can't say it was for fantasy football or they'll take your money.
That's right. Beer and pizza, hookers and blow, whatever. Either way. All right. Moving on. Andy, I need you to tell me a little bit about last week's predictions. Do we have those?
Yeah, we sure do. Boyer got his in late, but they were bad anyways, so nobody can complain about him using Thursday night, Sunday morning games to his advantage because Boyer only got 2 right. I got 4. Ty got 5. Ty got everybody but Charlie. Because only Boyer picked himself to win that matchup. But so Ty gained a little bit. The week before, since Ty didn't get to cover this last week, Boyer had 3 and Ty and I both had 2. So not a great week 8 for us, but total picks correct. I've got 33, Ty's at 30, Boyer's at 28.
All right.
Go
well,
team.
We're all somewhere in the okay range at this now. We started off hot and then it went south pretty quick.
Sure did.
So let's jump into this week's matchups a little bit quicker than normal. And then we will cover outlook for playoffs, for championship, for naked, for all that fun stuff. So let's do some quick start sits. And then before we do that, I lied. Andy, we have a trade between me and Paul that went down that has not been announced yet.
Breaking news.
So I would like input on your end.
Okay.
I trade Nico Collins, a keeper spot, and $5 draft dollars for Justin Jefferson. What are your thoughts?
I'm pulling up the draft. What did you pay for Nico in the draft? Because I know Nico being a keeper is interesting.
Those draft dollars.
Okay, so Nico's a pretty solid keeper here. Obviously, Tank Dell's coming along, and but Stroud's throwing enough, and Nico's been #1 receiver there, so that's a good piece. Losing the keeper spot, I don't think you're worried about. You can figure that out in the offseason if you need to, and then $5, and you bring in Justin Jefferson. That's I mean, obviously with the injury, status is up in the air. There was rumors when he first went down that they might just shut him down for the season because that was back when the Vikings are bad. But now they have Josh Downs, and everything is different. Apparently, they win games when they don't have
Josh
Kirk Cousins.
Josh Dobbs, not Downs. Downs is the wide receiver. Either way.
They've got a new guy, and his name is Josh. He sounds like a swell fella.
For sure.
And yeah, but what are the Vikings, like 5-4 right now? So, I mean, I think they are going to want Jefferson to come back so that they can go be in the playoffs, because that seems to be where they're headed at this point.
That's the hope.
I haven't heard anything about Jefferson's injury, though. I know initially it was 4 to 6 weeks, maybe. Hopefully closer to the 4 weekend to that. But honestly, Ty, looking at the standings, you've got a nice comfy cushion here, being 8-1, leading the league in wins. The next closest team anywhere is 2 games behind you, looking at Jeremy and Fryer. But in your division, you've got a 4-game lead. So if Jefferson doesn't come back for 4 more weeks, and you lose all 4 of those weeks, and Chris wins all 4 of those weeks, you're still tied. So you're in a fine spot to be able to sit and wait this out.
And I've got the division tiebreaker over him still.
Yep. So just do me a favor and beat Boyer this week.
Yeah. So my hope is I don't expect him to play week 10. I'm even questionable on week 11. But my hope is moving into playoffs, we'll have a good shot at having Jefferson healthy and ready to go, which is definitely an upgrade at my wide receiver position from the. Don't get me wrong.
You've been doing it with guys I didn't expect to be good, but they are.
Right. But if I can get Jefferson and throw him in there at wide receiver 1 and then play the wide receiver 2 flex game, I'd much rather do that than bank on Nico Collins or Jahan Dotson or Drake London to be my wide receiver 1 every week.
Yeah, once you stopped playing Dotson, your receivers got a lot better.
Until the last 2 weeks when Dotson was good.
I mean, your receivers were fine in those weeks too.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. Paul gets a lot to work with in a little bit of draft cash and a keeper spot and a keeper in Nico Collins, and you get a stud who will be coming back hopefully healthy for playoffs, and I think you're pretty comfortably in playoffs. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yep. So, all right, well, let's jump into week 10 matchups real quick. So we will do, as we always do, Boyer's matchup. No, not Boyer's matchup. My matchup. Boyer just happens to be with me. You want to run me through that one?
Yeah. So on Ty's side, you got to pick up a kicker. I'm sure you'll take care of that. And you're playing Ferguson at tight end because you just gave me Kmet. We don't need to really talk about that. I gave you Goff and $1 to get that done. So you're starting Goff this week. But looking over at your lineup, Drake London against Arizona, if he plays, probably over Dotson, or Jacoby Myers against the Jets is a tougher matchup too. So
Dotson will be in, or London will be in over Nico Collins because Nico Collins will no longer be here, and Justin Jefferson will be hurt.
Yep. Thank you. Well, that was dumb. You should have waited until Jefferson was back to make the trade, Ty.
Yeah, my bad.
Because I need you to beat Boyer this week.
Yeah,
like we already talked about this.
And if London's not here, it might hurt my ability to do that.
Yep. On Boyer's side, he's got Rashee Rice on a bye, so he's probably putting Sutton or Godwin in at the flex. You have a preference there? I'm not real big on starting Evans and Godwin, but I do think Godwin against Tennessee is probably preferable to Sutton against Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm probably playing Godwin.
Yeah.
But I would I'm the only one that would consider this because I'm the only one that still believes in the man.
Miles Sanders.
No, I put Antonio Gibson in.
Dude, why? Antonio Gibson should be on waivers. He should have been there 5 weeks ago.
He had 11 touches last week. Seattle's not great against the running backs. I think he's going to slowly get more work. Robinson fumbled last week, and they're big on if you fumble, you lose work.
Yeah.
That's why Gibson got benched so quick. He fumbled, he lost work. Brian Robinson fumbles. But the smart play is the smart play is to play Godwin. But
Yeah.
I still like Gibson, and I don't think Seattle's defense is that great that I think Gibson would be an opportunity. I would play him over Sutton because I think Jerry Judy's taken more of the wide receiver one role there.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
So,
all right.
But
well,
anyway,
down
also
Nico Collins.
You're putting Evan Ingram in over Tyler Conklin too. That guy's gone.
Yeah, I think Ingram was only in because of or Conklin was only in because Ingram was on a bye last week. So
Right.
I'm sure that's getting sorted out with waivers tomorrow. All right,
hope.
Ty, who you got in this one?
When I slated this out earlier, I had me, but I think I'm going to take Boyer in this one.
Well, I'm not cheering for it, but I'm also taking Boyer in this one because your team's got all sorts of bye week issues with Tua and I guess just Tua and your kicker.
Yeah.
And now Jefferson is not on a bye week, but he's not playing for another month. So
right. So I kind of chalked this one up to.
I mean, you don't need it. I need you to need it, but you don't need it.
Right. So I'm taking Boyer.
Yep. All right, me too, and so did Boyer. So we're in agreement there.
All right. Jeremy versus Chris. Jeremy has pretty much all of their starters available. Michael Thomas is the only one on the bench, but I am not playing that guy. So there are no lineup decisions to be made at this point for Jeremy. He will play his and be happy with it. Now, Chris is missing Josh Palmer on IR. He's missing Raheem Mostert on bye. He's missing Kupp on bye. He does have Trevor Lawrence or Sam Howell. Lawrence plays the Niners. Howell plays Seattle. I think I'm going to play Trevor Lawrence. I don't know that that's good. I don't know that there's a popular opinion here because Sam Howell's been good.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to play Trevor Lawrence and hope for the best.
Yeah, I hope that he steps up against a good team.
He also has Kyler Murray, but I don't think I'm playing Kyler Murray or banking on him this week, even against Atlanta.
No, not with the options that he has available to him. If he was sitting like you were and looking at like a Jared Goff type of guy, but I think having Trevor Lawrence, you're gonna go that route.
Sure. So then he's got to fill a wide receiver. Oh, he's got Tariq Hill on bye too. I missed that. So he's got to fill a wide receiver and a flex. And he's got Jamal Williams and Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah, it's a tough week for Chris here.
He's got to figure out a wide receiver because he doesn't have one of those available.
Yep. He's probably dropping Josh Palmer to get that sorted out. Or drop Howell now that Kyler's back. Just ride with Trevor Lawrence and Kyler.
Right. So I don't know what he's going to put in because he doesn't have that availability yet. Jamal Williams could go on his flex. Charbonnet probably is who you're going to put in your flex. So
yeah. Either way, this is going to get sorted out in waivers, and Jeremy's going to win.
Yep, Jeremy's going to win this one, and let's move on. How about that? You guys made that one easy on us.
Sure did. Who's
right,
next
so
on your list, Ty?
Paul versus Fryer.
All right, this is probably another quick one. All right, looking at Paul's team, Deshaun Watson against the Ravens or Brock Purdy, who's been struggling against the Jags. I think I'm leaving Watson in. And then you've
got Purdy.
Are you? For real?
I think Debo's supposed to be back this week. I would much rather play against Jacksonville than Baltimore.
Yeah,
I think I think Baltimore Cleveland's going to be a lower scoring game.
sure.
That's going to be a defensive game. I'm going to take the chance on Jacksonville versus San Francisco being an offensive game. San Francisco's only scored 17 points the last couple games. Before that, they were averaging 30 points a game. I expect them to go back to the mid 20s at least.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
so I would expect Purdy to be better. So I'm playing Purdy this week.
All right. You want to get Hollywood in over Gabe Davis probably, or
What
leave
about
Gabe
Nico
Davis?
Collins?
Well, I was gonna get there too, but um, because he's going up against Fryer, who's gonna spank him, at least according to these projections. Um, probably Paul needs a running back too. Literally only has one. So this is another
Yeah.
one that's getting sorted out on waivers. Week 10 is a big bye week apparently. But do you want to leave Gabe Davis in and put Hollywood in over Deontay? Nico in over Deontay, leave Hollywood on the bench? Do we like Gabe Davis for the shoot for the stars approach? Hollywood can do
I
that too, especially with Kyler coming back.
I would leave Deontay in, especially with Pickens throwing his fits. I think Deontay is going to be a big target guy. So Deontay, I'm keeping in, and I'm actually playing Hollywood and Nico over Devontae Adams and Gabe Davis.
Really benching Devontae.
I I think you have to against the Jets.
The Jets
I
is
think
tough.
Sauce Gardner mixed with a safety coverage, they're gonna shut down Adams, and Adams has been shut down by worse defenses than this.
Yep.
He's got Aiden O'Connell throwing to him. I think I'm benching Adams this week.
Yeah, Devontae hasn't had a touchdown since week 3. He hasn't cracked 7 fantasy points since week 4.
I'm sitting him against a good Jets secondary. I think it's going to be Jacobs. Jacobs is going to run. They're going to try to run the clock, manage the game through Jacobs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, and I'm sitting him, and I'm giving Nico a shot, and I'm giving Hollywood Brown or Gabe Davis a shot, whoever you think has a higher upside.
That's fair. I can't fault you there. I think Devontae, if I was in playoff contention, I'd be looking to buy Devontae Adams cheap. As opposed to going, like, if I was trying to be mindful of next year, Devontae Adams is a guy that I would for sure be targeting to buy low off of Paul's team, as he's very likely selling at this point. But I'm not in that position this year, unfortunately. So I will be over here if you need me. Let's go to Fryer's side. Taysom Hill over Ramondre Stevenson. Nobody's doing that. You're not doing it over Mark Andrews either. So be happy that he's on your bench. I don't see any real lineup decisions on Fryer's side. I think he's leaving in what he's got.
Yep, I'd agree.
And Fryer's going to win this one.
His team's super deep, and I love it.
Yeah.
But Fryer's going to win this one.
Yep. Boyer agrees with us. Fryer's going to win.
All right. Well, those ones were fun. I will jump down to your matchup, which then will leave you with the Walker Robbie one after this. Just so you're aware.
Okay.
So I'm going out of order because last time I gave you your game, you said you're really gonna let me do my own. And I said, yeah, we talk about it anyway.
Right.
So Andy's team doesn't have. He's got Goddard hurt / on a bye, Swift on a bye. Both on his bench right now. He's got Zach Moss on his bench. Damian Pierce is currently in, is questionable. So if for some reason Pierce doesn't play, he plays. My guess is you just move Zach Moss up and play him.
Yeah.
Romeo Doubs, I actually like. I know that they are real hit or miss.
Love's
Doubs
been so bad since like week 3.
He started hot and then he's been bad. So I think I'm gonna play Moss if Pierce is out. And just hope that against New England they split some work. Jonathan Taylor doesn't carry 95% workload again this week. But it's a shot.
Yeah.
And I think that's the upside play is Moss or Dobbs. So I think that's what I'm doing. Where are you at?
I'm losing this week is where I'm at. I mean, I I'm just working with scraps at this point. Moss has lost his job even though he was doing so well, and Pierce is banged up and not doing well, and in the process of losing his job. Bijan and Algier are in a dead even split. So I think I'm playing Bijan and Algier because Algier at least gets the goal line looks, and Bijan might eventually get to carry the ball more because he's a yard and a half per carry better than Algier, but I'm not the coach. They don't ask me these things. But for now, I'm playing both of them and Swift when he's not on a bye. So,
Okay.
but it's a tough one.
So here, let's move over to Charlie's side. If Fields for some reason is not playing, he'll know on Thursday he puts Derek Carr in.
Yep.
We're playing Justin Fields if he's there.
Yep.
Jamar Chase is playing. You're not playing at this point George Pickens over Ridley.
Nope.
So I guess you could push Metcalf up and put Rashad White in if you would like. But I think Rashad White has to be a possible alternative for David Montgomery just in case.
Yeah.
I think David Montgomery's returning. And I think he'll have at least a partial job coming back. I know Gibbs has looked decent in his absence, but I don't see him just getting away from Montgomery the way he started season.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, are you leaving Ridley in over the likes of Rashad White? Are you leaving Metcalf in over Rashad White?
So I think that I would play George Pickens over Ridley. I think Pickens is good enough as a player that him bitching is going to result in increased looks. I mean, Chase Claypool wasn't going to get that, right? He can throw a fit and then he's just going to get cut or traded. I think that Pickens is towards the bottom of that cutoff, but he is a guy who's good enough that I think that complaining about it is going to get him that work at least for a week just to make him feel better. So I would put him in over Ridley, and then I think I'm keeping DK in against Washington. I think most weeks I would play Rashad White over him, but against Washington, I'm going to play DK.
And Tennessee's run defense is halfway decent.
Yeah.
So I would agree. I'm probably leaving the wide receivers in. Either way, I've got Charlie winning this matchup.
Same. Boyer agrees. We're 4 for 4 so far.
All right. You want to jump back up to Walker versus Robbie then?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Oh boy. I got too many screens, Ty.
Oh,
Walker versus Robbie. Oh, this is another shit show for waiting on waivers. Walker
Yes,
does
sir.
not have a quarterback on his active roster right now. Oh, there he is, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he's on a bye. And then after that, he doesn't have anybody projected for double-digit points except for Dallas defense, which checks out. Debo coming back. I think I'm putting him in over Chuba. Chuba against the Bears. You're gonna have to make that call Thursday night. Walker, get Chuba out of your flex. Put him, if you're gonna play him, put him in at running back. That's a rookie mistake. Yeah, I want to get Debo in here. I think I am fine playing him over Chuba or over Pittman or even over Najee. Which way would you go?
If I'm taking a running back out, it's going to be Najee. Brian Robinson has been consistent enough. Seattle's defense isn't great. I think I like Chuba this week against the Bears, and he's been getting work. I mean, he's got what 19, 15, and 16 attempts on the ground plus some air yards. I think I'm leaving him in and taking Najee out
and keeping
or
Pittman
just
in.
leaving it as is. I am okay playing all three running backs. And maybe taking Pittman out if you really want to play Debo. But Pittman has had the upside. I don't know that I'm taking him out. I think I'd watch all week. And if you just take the hit on him putting up 15 points, you take the hit on it.
Yeah.
But coming off that shoulder surgery or the injury or whatever, I I think I'm gonna ride Debo on the bench for 1 week and see what happens here.
Yeah. I think that is a fine way to handle this. I think I would play Debo probably over Najee. But I get it if you don't. That's a fine way to do it. Moving over to Robbie's side, you're putting Kittle back in over Njoku, probably, especially Njoku going against the Ravens. That was more of a bye week fill-in, I would guess. At receiver, you're not putting Kirk or Judy in over McLaurin and Hopkins, I don't think. And we're looking at Madison over Gus Edwards. Now that Akers is injured, New Orleans is a tough run defense, but so is Cleveland. Do you have a preference between Madison or Gus Edwards, Ty?
Um,
I think I'm leaving Edwards in.
I'd play Madison.
Yeah, it's close.
Without Akers now, I don't think Ty Chandler is going to take a lot of that extra work.
Yeah.
I think Edwards between Keaton Mitchell and Justice Hill and Edwards, I think I just like the volume of Madison better.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Now the real question, Dak against the Giants in a game that they're probably not going to have to score a lot to win, or CJ Stroud against the Bengals in a tough matchup early on in his career where he's going to have to score some points to keep up with a good team.
It's a tough decision because honestly,
Yeah.
Dak could get pulled at halftime because they're winning 8-0.
Right.
Because Tommy DeVito is going to throw interceptions to the Dallas defense on the other side of the ball with Walker's team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'd play Stroud this week in hopes. Granted, I don't know that you need the upside, but I think I'm playing Stroud for the upside because I don't know that Dak's going to be in all game. I think he's a 2 or 3 quarter guy and then he's going to be out.
Yeah, so they played the Giants week 1, the Cowboys did. They won 40-0, and Dak put up 6.32 fantasy points because it was all the defense, and they just ran the ball afterwards, and it was game script didn't go his way. I can't imagine not having Dan Jones is going to help that. It might not be that ridiculous, but I don't see there being a ton of numbers here for Dak just because there's not going to need to be. Whereas Stroud's going to throw 50 times, whether it's good or bad for a rookie quarterback going up against a good team is another discussion. But the volume's going to be there for him, and I think that's what's going to make me make the switch here.
Yep, and I like Stroud.
Yeah, for sure. He's looked great.
I'm going to take Robbie in this one, I think. Doesn't make me feel good, though.
No, it doesn't. I feel like a little bit of this is me just going against the grain because I don't want us to be 5 for 5 with the picks here. But I think I'm going to go Walker. Once he fills in these gaps with anything at all, it should be pretty close in terms of what Yahoo's looking at. And Seattle just got gashed by the Ravens running back, so maybe Brian Robinson has a good game, and Chuba should make the Bears feel embarrassed to be a national football team. Um, you know, there's pieces on Walker's side that I like, and I'm not super jazzed about any of the individual matchups on Robbie's team, even though it is probably better than Walker's, just talent-wise, with A.J. Brown and Pat Mahomes down this week for Walker. But I like some of the matchups, so I'll go Walker.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so let's jump to Colin versus the duo. Colin has Will Levis against Tampa Bay on the bench, or he's got Geno Smith versus Washington in his starting lineup. Thoughts on that one?
I mean, I'm not jazzed about either.
That's ugly.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to
Geno.
leave Geno in. Yeah. That feels gross.
Yeah,
Colin,
both of
get it
these are
together.
bad defenses. The Bucks just gave up 42 points to Stroud last weekend. But Washington's gave up 40 real life points to the Bears earlier this season because they're pretty bad, and they just got rid of their pass rush. So
Right.
I think Geno should be pretty comfortable back there throwing to DK and Lockett and JSN. So give me Geno.
Yeah. All right. So other than that, Colin doesn't have any wide receiver decisions. Waddle is on a bye. So he's playing JMO and Chris Olave. He's got Jacobs Eckler in. He's got Kincaid in, kicker and defense. So we got to fill in the flex. Is that Roshan Johnson?
Oof.
It's got to be based on his lineup, but I don't like that.
Yeah, you got to find something else. Not that Colin's going to go like add a guy, but there's got to be something else. Maybe Colin goes in on Keaton Mitchell and tries to get him in this week, but I'm not entirely against Roshan Johnson given the shit options that Colin has, but if I was trying to make fantasy rankings, he would not be high up there this week.
Yeah. I mean, the only good thing is they play Carolina, so you can hope for the best on that, where they just run the ball.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me feel good. So, But that's really the only decision. That's the only guy on his bench I'm willing to play. So Roshan Johnson's the guy. Moving over to the duo, they are missing Hurts this week. They are missing Travis Kelce this week. They do not have another quarterback on their bench.
Or
So
tight
that
end.
will be a waiver situation. And then they don't have a tight end on their bench, so that will also be a waiver situation. Outside of that, Keontae Ingram is currently in their starting lineup. I would be playing Deontay Foreman over Keontae Ingram.
Yeah, agreed. I really like Foreman. He's been running hard and looking good, and very happy to keep playing him until Herbert comes back. I don't think Herbert's coming back this week, so do that.
Yep. All right. Other than that, there are no other lineup decisions I'm willing to. Well, if Josh Downs doesn't play, Jackson Smith and Jigba goes in.
Yeah, agreed.
So there's your lineup decision. Outside of that, who do we got in this one?
Warrior picked Colin. Duo's whole team is on a bye, and by whole team I mean Hurts and Kelce, and that's their whole team.
I think Jacobs, Eckler, Kincaid, Olave could be enough. Granted, Pollard could be the only thing that tears apart the Giants this week too. I think I'm leaning Colin this week.
Yeah. I'm not real happy that we're going 3 for 3 on Boyer, 3 for 3 on Colin, and 3 for 3 on me losing to Charlie this week, though. But I can't argue that. I mean, this is going to be an ugly matchup. That's all I can say. But I'm going to go Colin.
All right. Well, there you go. There's our picks for the week. There's our start sits. Now we go to my favorite segment, little pow, pow, pow.
Pow.
Andy, are you drinking anything?
Water, because my fat ass might be taking naked pictures later, so I gotta apparently start doing the
Perfect.
podcast from the treadmill.
We're drinking Miller Lite. That's what we get around here nowadays.
Attaboy. Not a sponsor.
Not
Might
a
be
sponsor.
a sponsor. I don't know. Ty wouldn't tell me.
All right. So, real quick, I'm going to run through where everybody stands, and then we will talk about who's going to win what division. So, for the top division, we have Fryer at 6-3, Robbie at 5-4, Boyer at 3-6, Andy at 3-6. Fryer has the tiebreaker at 3 divisional wins versus Robbie's 2 divisional wins. So at this point, who do you have winning the top division?
I'm giving it to Fryer. I like his team very much. We just took some time out to talk about how deep it is and how good it is. Robbie's team's been doing well, but Fryer's team is better. It's already a game up, so I think that's a pretty easy decision for me.
Yep. I have Fryer at about 10 wins. I have Robbie at 7, and you and Boyer both at 5. So
means I better start scoring more points.
that's correct.
Boyer picked Robbie. I was kind of surprised by that.
All right. So we have 2 for Fryer and 1 for Robbie. So let's jump down to the middle division.
Yeah, I don't see Chris pulling this one out.
Yeah. Well, we got to talk about it because it's a thing, and then we'll move on. This one will be quick.
You're 4 games up, Ty. It's gonna be you.
I'm sitting at 8-1. Chris is at 4-5. Paul's at 3-6. Colin's at 3-6. I have the divisional tiebreaker currently as well. I'm taking me.
Yep, same. So did Boyer.
All right. I have currently me slated at 11 wins. Chris at 7. Paul and Colin also both at 5 wins after slating things out. So that leaves you,
That's
Boyer.
A lot of 5 wins.
I went through and looked at all the game matchups the rest of the year, and I don't know what to tell you. That's just where I ended up. So
me and Boyer's matchup in week 15 last
15.
week of the season gonna be real important.
And I think Paul plays Colin week 14, maybe.
Okay.
So
yep, sure does.
That game could be a big matchup as well.
Yep.
But I have all of you guys currently at 5 wins, which leaves you guys currently points for between 731 and 775. So you're often
40-ish.
44 points of each other. So this could go any given way at any given point. So
I realize we're jumping ahead here because we've only done 2 divisions, but since we're already on the topic, do we want to make a naked pick and talk about that situation? Because it's not just the 4 of us; it's also Walker that's tied at 3-6.
All right, so let's just go through the bottom division.
All right.
So I got Jeremy at 6-3, Duo at 5-4, Charlie at 5-4, and then Walker at 3-6. Walker's points for are way above everybody else. He is 30 points above me at 8-1, and he's at 3-6. So I apologize about your luck this year. But I do not see. So Slayton these ones out. I have Jeremy winning this division. What do you have?
I also have Jeremy winning this division. I like Duo's team, but I don't think that they're gonna win this division.
All right. So then Boyer has
also Jeremy
as well. All right. So I have Jeremy at 10, Duo at 9, Charlie at 9, Walker at 6. So I have Walker beating you guys record wise regardless.
Interesting. I like looking at it, and this is assuming that the rest of us get to 5 wins. I think there's definitely a world where Walker only wins 1 more game. He's not my pick for naked, but he's not out of the woods either. His remaining schedule is Robbie, and we talked about how Robbie's team stacks up pretty well this week. Then Fryer, who's a playoff team, we just decided. Paul's a win. Charlie's a tough matchup. Then Jeremy, then Duo. Like,
Yeah.
Walker's got a gauntlet to go through, and he's tied for the worst record. The points tiebreakers 100% in his hands if he ends up tied with anybody. But there's a world where Walker only wins one more game, and if everybody else on the list wins too, then Walker could have the most points in the league and the worst record just because of shit luck. That's where he's sitting right now.
100%.
So should be interesting.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But I have Walker ahead of you guys. So I think it's going to end. I think it's going to end with Paul being naked.
Back to back.
I think there are enough questions. Granted, I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't feel comfortable with that prediction. Colin's team is
Gonna
not
win this
hitting.
week.
Andy's got a lot of buys. He's got Kincaid to go on buy still, Jacobs to go on buy still, Waddle's on buy this week, Olave's on buy next week. So a lot of you guys have a lot of guys to still hit the bye week. Boyer's team, when I was looking at it, Boyer's team, he's got Allen on bye week 13, Taylor on bye week 11. He's got Rashee Rice on bye this week. He's got a couple guys to hit buys. He doesn't have as much, but Taylor and Allen, those are going to be big hits when they get hit. So I with all of you guys being within 40 points, it could come down to 3 or 4 points in any direction if you all end that close. But I'm going to take a stab on Paul here being the bottom of the barrel. Where are you at?
It's so there's so many options. I'm not picking me, not because I think that my team's gonna magically get good, but because I don't have any pieces to sell. So I'm not gonna get that much worse. Whereas, Walker could sell off, Boyer could sell off, he could sell Taylor, whoever. I think that these other teams could get significantly worse, and my team is just gonna stay pretty not great. So, because of that, I'm gonna go with Boyer here. But I have no strong feelings, and it sounds like not that we pick them all right every week, but it sounds like based on our picks that there's a good chance that everybody except for me and Paul is gonna win this week. So a leg up to Boyer, Colin, and Walker. Not great. So we'll see.
Yahoo has you and Boyer both at 5, Colin at 6, Walker at 6, and it has you 45 points below Boyer. So
yeah, it feels right. What
Yahoo
about Colin?
Has you? It has Colin at 6 and 9, below you in points.
Okay, so if I can win one more, Colin wins one less, then we'd probably get there.
According to Yahoo projections.
Interesting.
Which we know are never correct, because at one point Yahoo had me winning 9 games and I'm at 8. So if I only win 9, I'm going to be pissed.
Well, what are you going to do?
All right.
I do want to call out real quick that of all of the teams that are 3 and 6 right now, I'm the only one that hasn't done naked pictures yet. So assuming that nobody else falls down like Chris or Charlie or somebody else new, looking at a pretty high percentage chance of rolling out this secondary punishment for the first time.
Yeah. Yep.
Boyer was the first nudie photos. Maybe Boyer will be the first Waffle House challenge.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens here. So just for the record, you can put your prediction in or not put your prediction in. I have so wild card, I had Charlie getting in.
Oh, okay. Boyer picked Fry because he had Robbie winning our division. He also sarcastically put himself, but I think that was more sarcastic because he gave us a real pick in Fry. I don't think Charlie does it because his division's so tough. I'm looking at Chris or the duo, and I'm leaning Chris. But if I pick Chris, then none of us picked the duo to make the playoffs in any capacity, which is interesting.
Can I just ask how Charlie's not going to make it because of his division being tough, but the duo is going to make it because their division's tough?
I mean, I'm saying I'm picking I'm picking Chris. So I'm saying I'm surprised nobody picks the duo,
Yeah.
but I'm picking Chris.
Okay. So Chris sneaks in for you.
Yep.
So I have, for the record, I have me versus Charlie, as I assume I will be the top seed. It may or may not be that way, but that's my guess.
Sure.
So me versus Charlie, I have me beating Charlie, Jeremy versus Fryer, Fryer beating Jeremy, and Fryer beating me in the championship.
Wow. Boyer picked Jeremy as his champion, and I am also going to pick Fryer to be the champion of our league, and I might be naked. So get your snowballs ready for the big fight in hell. Something is very wrong.
So my goal at the end of the year, real quick, is just I have that toilet in my office that sits there and taunts me with the Mantasy worst overall record. And I believe at this point, I may or may not be out of that position. But my goal is by the end of the year that I no longer own that trophy.
And can give it to Fryer, the new champion.
Well, so I think Jeremy was 1 game above me, Fryer was 2 games above me, or flip them. And I think Paul was only about 5 games above me.
Yeah, it could be Paul if he's the only one out of your group that's bad this year.
So it could be Paul. if I beat Fryer by 2 games the rest of the season, still it could be Fryer. It's interesting that me, Jeremy, and Fryer have been the historically worst teams in the league, and we're all making a push this year, so it's great.
Yeah, you guys finally figured it out 13 years in.
Whoa, hold on. I have 2 championships, and you knock that bullshit off. All right, leave me alone. All right. So with that, if you have nothing else, we're gonna enjoy a good week of football this week. As always, Boyer, you suck. Not only because you're Boyer, but because you played me this week, you suck. Everybody else don't care about you, don't care about your life events. All I care about is a week 10 victory, a nice round of clean football, and then maybe see Andy naked at the end of this year. I don't know. We'll see. So
you'd like that, wouldn't you?
Well, I don't need to know, but it's fine. It's all in the mental Rolodex already. All right. On that, we got to get out of here before I start saying anything else stupid. We'll see you next week.